If you've heard the words fascist and Nazi more times than you care to count, it's a problem. It really is a problem. These are two words that are overused, and you and I need to talk about this. I'm Marcus Peter. Fascist, Nazi, these are two modern words that activists use when they've run out of arguments. They're the ideological version of a fire alarm. You pull it because you've lost control of the situation, or in this case, the conversation. The problem is that the alarm has been going off for so long that no one even knows if there is an emergency anymore. So let's get the history straight. The word fascism, from the Italian fasci, it means bundles or unions. Benito Mussolini coined the term in the early 20th century because he envisioned it as a collectivist political system where the individual exists to serve the state. I hope you're listening to this. Benito Mussolini envisioned a fascist system wherein the individual exists to serve the state. The fascist ideal is unity by means of complete government submission. So no free markets, no limited government vision, a fusion of overt nationalism and economic socialism. The state owns everything, including the soul of its people, even if it didn't technically own its factories yet. Germany's vision of fascism, National Socialism, was even worse. So the Nationalsozialistische Deutsche Arbeiterpartei, that's the German name for the Nazi party, and we throw around the word Nazi quite a bit. It translates, just translating the German here, into National Socialist German Workers' Party. I think people don't realize this. When you call someone a Nazi, you're officially saying that person's a socialist. Hitler wasn't running on libertarian principles or even liberation principles. He was an authoritarian collectivist. He mixed Marxist economic envy with Nietzsche's moral nihilism. So he promised that he would elevate the worker, crush capitalism, and build a utopian state that's purified of undesirables, especially the Jews. So when modern progressives call conservatives Nazis for defending things like family, faith, borders, it's not only historically illiterate, it's also morally problematic. Because Hitler's party despised Christianity. He also rejected natural law. He treated the individual as a disposable cog in the racial machine. Today, the word fascist means someone who disagrees with me. If you hold a traditional moral view, you're a fascist. If you believe men and women are biological realities, you're a fascist. If you question the orthodoxy of gender politics, you're worse than a fascist. You're the problem. The inflation of moral language has consequence. Words shape perception. In the past few months alone, we've seen political aggression exploding. Most recently, Pam Bondi, the former Florida Attorney General, had a $45,000 hit taken out on her by an anarchist.
You know, you do see in the mainstream media, if a conservative says a certain thing, they're going to go blister that person. But if a liberal is saying things like fascist and, you know, Trump's this and that, and they equate conservatism to Nazism, they do it all the time. I mean, MSNBC, you know, you look at there was a recent study, over 3,000 times in the last 3 years, they equated Trump and fascism. Okay. And then you look at some of these shooters, and they're using those exact same terms when they're trying to go kill their political opponents. There is a connection, and I think everybody needs to do better.
Other commentators have been reporting rising threats against their lives, credible threats, mind you. You don't need to like someone's policies to see that this is deranged sickness. It's the same moral corrosion that made crowds cheer when political opponents were destroyed in ancient Rome. This modern hatred of Donald Trump, at this point, people give it a rest. Gosh.
Hitler in the White House right now.
Incredibly dangerous that Donald Trump would invoke Adolf Hitler.
That's Hitler's language.
Reenacting the Madison Square Garden rally in 1939.
Everything that he has done has been tearing down constitutional democracy. And that's what happened in Nazi Germany.
This is not Germany. That's the SS and the Gestapo.
I haven't suggested that Donald Trump is Hitler. I wouldn't say
I don't
that
think any Democrat has. I actually, and I think it's a smear that they project back on to critics.
And look, I want to make clear, everyone who knows me knows this, I'm not a fan of Donald Trump, but I'm also not someone who is completely derangedly anti-Donald Trump either, because he's become a visible form of the disease according to these people. It's almost theological in nature, because if Trump cures cancer, they'll say he put doctors out of work. If he makes peace, they'll say he's betraying someone. If everyone in secular society hates one person with this much passion, it might be good for those of us who profess faith in Christ Jesus to pause and ask whether the mob's hatred is the best moral compass for us. Friends, Trump isn't the cause of America's political decay. He's a symptom and a result of a society that has been rotting since virtue was replaced by ideology. John Paul II once said, "Freedom is not the ability to do whatever we want, but the right to do what we ought." And that's the problem. Our politics lost its moral foundation a long time ago because we replaced truth with ideology and tribalism. So yes, if you throw out statements like, oh, some people deserve to be alienated, look in the mirror. Philosopher Hannah Arendt warned that the first step towards tyranny is when language ceases to describe reality and begins to serve resentment. We are living that now. Just because someone disagrees with you politically doesn't make you right. Just because you disagree doesn't give you the right to dehumanize. We haven't had truly virtuous individuals on either side of the political aisle in the political sphere globally for a long time. No, the way forward is Christian virtue, or at the lowest level, natural virtue. So speak carefully, speak truthfully, speak as those who will give an account for every careless word before the Lord our God, who will judge us for every thought, word, action, and omission. Because not only does the world need it, the soul of human society and civilization depends on it. Thank you for joining us. I'm Marcus Peter.